Hey, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, and today I want to talk about TemTem because it officially launched, or went into early access, should I say, yesterday, and today I jumped in for the first time. I thought I'd wait a day because I was like, you know what? This is an online game. Servers are going to take a hit on launch day. They're going to struggle. Rather unfortunately, it seems they were being DDoSed as well. And obviously, you know, launch games tend to have their fair share of trouble. So I was like, you know what? Let me sit back and I'll wait until today. Jumped on this morning, got on no problem, and I've been running through for probably about like 4 hours so far. So I thought I'd kind of put together a video and just talk about my first impressions. These are the impressions of someone that has literally just jumped into the game. I've been following it for quite some time. In fact, I've been following it from the very beginning. I actually backed it way back when it first got announced on Kickstarter. I never actually got my early access code to let me play the beta. I'm not bitter at all, but I never got to play it beforehand, so I'm literally jumping in for the first time. But safe to say, I've been looking forward to this. Now yes, it is quite obviously a Pokemon game, right? There is no avoiding this. In the same way that Genshin Impact was clearly inspired by Breath of the Wild, this is clearly inspired by Pokemon. It is basically Pokemon through and through. However, it also introduces some new systems, does some things that I've been wanting Pokemon to do for quite some time, and as a Pokemon fan who has been playing since Red and Blue, it's safe to say that TemTem kind of just appealed to me. So let's talk about that. Now, let's start at the top. Functionally, a lot of the stuff you see in this, a lot of the kind of DNA, a lot of the sort of foundations for this follow a very typical Pokemon formula. You start at your home, your mum wakes you up, you then go down and you have to go on your adventure, you go out and meet the professor, he gives you your first chance at choosing a TemTem or a Pokemon, and you then go off from there. I will say, I hate the rival already. Max dresses horrendously, he's got a terrible attitude, and unlike Pokemon, it's so weighted so that you will always lose. I'm pretty sure you're guaranteed to lose your first rival battle. If anybody has won their rival battle, let me know in the comments down below. I don't think it's even possible. You literally get your new TemTem, he's like, hey, let's fight. And it's obviously already said that he's got a special, rare, powerful TemTem, kills you in one hit. Clearly you're not supposed to win that, and then he thinks he's all good for it. He's like, ha, I'm better than you, you're not even that, mate, sorry, but you just got given an easy win, right? Anyway, I can't wait to play through the game
and destroy his hopes and dreams so that he never catches TemTem ever again.
Whew, that escalated quite quickly. You clearly see, I don't like Max. Anyway, that aside, it kind of works around the sort of typical format, right? So you choose from one of three starters. I chose the red-looking fighting monkey because I like monkeys, and he was the coolest looking one there. There was like a weird-looking sort of green turtle slash Bulbasaur thing and some weird purple witchy looking ghost. I didn't care for those ones. I want to play as the fighting monkey because even in Pokemon, fighting type is my favorite type followed by fire. So that's where we're at. Anyway, that aside, you then go through and you leave there and you embark on your adventure. Now, obviously, you can then, go out into the wild, you can catch TemTem, much like you would in Pokemon. You go out into wild grass, you have random encounters. You don't see the TemTem when you're roaming around, so it is more traditional, like random encounters. So sometimes you'll be walking through a patch of grass like this long, and you just want to get to the other side, and it's like, no, you're gonna fight this stinking little flying pig first before you can go anywhere. But you do that, you catch TemTem, you catch them in these weird sort of looking like Sheikah Slate looking cards, which is quite cool. In fact, one of the things, I digress for a moment, one of the things that I actually do really like about TemTem is the visual style, right? Because it's almost like Pokemon meets Breath of the Wild, and I don't mean it in the most obvious sense like Breath of the Wild is sort of cel-shaded as is TemTem. I mean it more in the sort of slightly more subtle ways, like some of the design elements, like the chest that you open, the TemTem cards, some of the icons for the items, they've got that sort of Breath of the Wild Sheikah tech feel to them. Even some of the sound effects, you go up to some of the chests that you open that give you your items around the world and you kick them in this way that sort of like Link kicks chests when he has like no armor on, which is kind of cool. And obviously having that sort of island feel to it. I think it's supposed to be set in like a sort of Hawaiian style island because your mother's called Aina, and I believe I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, I'm not going to try and sort of speak more about that because that's something I don't necessarily know about. Point is, I'm liking that sort of, there feels like there's Breath of the Wild inspiration elements worked into this as well. And if it's like Pokemon meets Zelda in this new framework, I'm all for it, right? I mean, like, I like Pokemon because I like catching creatures and making my teams. I like exploring, and if this game gives me that, then I'm more than happy to play it. There's no denying, as I said at the beginning, there's no denying that this is a Pokemon-inspired game. In the same way that when Dark Souls first came out, it then bred a whole plethora of Souls-like games, right? And I'm cool for that, right? Like, it's about time somebody else does something like this, because then maybe the Pokemon company might shake it up a little bit. This isn't, again, me doing a dig. I'm not making this video to say, hey, this is better than Pokemon Sword and Shield, because I know right now it's the popular thing to say, hey, Sword and Shield is rubbish, man. I personally really enjoyed it. I played it, finished it over Christmas, had a great time with it. Might not be the best Pokemon game ever, but I still enjoy Pokemon Sword and Shield. But I'm not here to sort of say TemTem is better. But what I do want to talk about are a few things that TemTem has done that Pokemon hasn't done. For the longest time, I've always wanted Pokemon to embrace online in an MMO format, right? In a world where you explore this vast open area, you catch Pokemon, there are other trainers out there, and the only time you ever see someone is if you go into like an online room. I've always wanted people to share that world with you, and that's one thing that TemTem does, right? And I haven't even taken the time to actually use any of those online features. I appreciate that right now. I've heard there are some bugs with some of them. I think sometimes if you go and try and like battle with people, sometimes it can freeze, but I'm not even worried about that for the time being. I haven't been experiencing those, but what I do like is just exploring the world and seeing other people around. Like, I'm on this adventure, right? I'm going through the grass, I'm minding my own business, I'm doing things that I want to do, but just seeing people running past me. Like, I go over and I go to catch this wild Pokemon that I've encountered, and then when I come out, I'm seeing people running around doing their own thing, and just like, even if I don't interact with them, seeing them in this world just makes it feel so much more alive, and I've actually quite enjoyed that so far. There is also customization, by the way, which is important because in a game where you see lots of other players, you don't want to have like a bajillion identikit trainers all with their same little hat and hoodie on. It's not the most in-depth character creation, and I will say that I am sorely disappointed that there is no bald option. Like, for just for a minute, right? I'm not going to try and put my game developer hat on and tell people how to make games, but surely it's easier to make a bald hairstyle than it is to make a hairstyle. Surely you just take the hair off and you've got a bald character. Why can I not be bald? I get that they're kids, right? But come on, right? I'll allow you not giving me a beard because if they're supposed to be kids, apparently kids can't have beards. Fine. Why can't I be bald? Anyway, that I digress, right? You can also, by the way, get a load of different customization things as you play throughout the game. You walk into shops, you can buy outfits, you can buy different hairstyles. I have seen like a bald hairstyle in the trailer, so I think they may be adding more stuff later on. By the way, if anyone knows how to make money in this game, please let me know in the comments down below. I walked into my first shop, right, and I'm struggling to scrape by like 600-700, whatever this currency is, to buy some potions. And they're like, hey, you want to buy this cool looking swimsuit for 59,000 currency? Where the hell am I going to get that money from? I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure I'll find out in time. Point is, you can buy different things. If you look at the trailer, you'll see there's lots of different cool costumes and stuff, which is nice. So on the personalization front, there's obviously things for you to go after. So that was kind of cool. The other thing that I liked is the combat stuff. So combat functionally works in a very similar manner to turn-based combat. You know, you attack, you take your turns, you do all that kind of stuff, you swap your team around, you have items and things. However, the TemTem battles work around a rather interesting stamina mechanic. So if you compare it to Pokemon, you have your moves and each move has PP. I know people are going to laugh when I say that, right? And then once you run out of that, you obviously can't use your move again. Meanwhile, in TemTem, it works around a stamina bar. So some moves, or all moves, deplete this stamina bar, and if you get to a point where you have no stamina left, you actually have to rest for a turn. You can also get to the point where you're on the threshold of running out of stamina, and you can sacrifice some health to be able to do it. Basically, sort of, you know, by doing a powerful move, it then uses up your stamina, and for whatever you didn't have, it damages your health. So you're actually going to kind of, you know, it's a sort of high risk, high reward thing. And then after that, you're forced to rest. But having to juggle that is actually quite interesting. Also, some moves in this actually don't come into effect until later. So take my starter, for example, he can't use his fighting move in the first turn. So for the first turn, you either buff yourself or you do a different move, and then it comes in as a move you can use afterwards. So just that sort of dynamic just changes it from just like, my moves are always accessible, I'm going to use them until my resource runs out. Instead, I'm going to like have to think slightly more sensibly about them in battle. Obviously, you've got all the traditional things you're used to. There are type weaknesses, there are ways for types to synergize with one another. You've kind of got those sort of team battles. There's a lot more team battles in this as well. You will do like singular battles, but very, very early on, you're basically doing 2-on-2s all the time. And I will say, difficulty-wise, this seems to step it up a lot more quickly. Like in Pokemon, I'm so used to, for the first part of for the first like half of the game, everything's leveled at kind of a very sort of steady pace. Already in TemTem, in my first couple of hours, I got to a point where I was fighting something that was like level 18. I think I was only like level 14. So already that big kind of discrepancy. I've died a couple of times as well, or like fainted a couple of times. So not to say that it's a difficult game per se, but I feel like the difficulty curve maybe sort of ramps up a little bit more so than you would expect if in something like Pokemon. So that was definitely kind of cool. But I've actually really enjoyed battles. Also, if you evolve your TemTem, they actually evolve in battle, which is cool. So if you happen to defeat one of the two TemTem you're fighting, and you then level up as a result of that, and you get to the point where you would have evolved, you'll actually evolve in the middle of the battle, so you then continue the battle as that evolved form, as opposed to waiting till the end, which is also a pretty interesting addition, because then it kind of, changes the way things look, and just is, I guess, kind of more realistic than just sort of having to wait until the very end. So that was also a pretty welcome addition. But yeah, otherwise, in terms of exploration, the world looks pretty cool. There's also these like different interesting items you can get. Like you can get a surfboard, which obviously allows you to get onto the water. I haven't got that just yet. You could also get climbing gear. So when I was working my way around the mountainous region, I had to walk the long route, but if you have the climbing gear, you can just scale the wall and stuff. So there's obviously all that kind of typical, I guess, the sort of thing that you would liken to, say, having HMs, but instead it's just like in-game equipment, and obviously from there you can then, open up and expand and explore the world even more so. I haven't yet done my first dojo battle, which I guess is akin to gym battles. I think I'm very close. I got to the town, and they said, in a sort of traditional Pokemon manner, the dojo leader, the dojo trainer, is not here right now. Can you go and find them? I've then gone north to try and find them. So I imagine once I've done that, I come back and have my first battle. So there's still a lot of stuff that I have to experience. But I will say, as somebody that likes Pokemon, as somebody that has always enjoyed the series from the very beginning, this is definitely scratching that Pokemon itch, and it's just giving me a chance to explore that even more so. Again, this is not about trying to work out which one is better. This is not about picking favorites. It's literally, I like Pokemon. I just finished Sword and Shield. Here's another Pokemon experience I can play. I'm going to enjoy it, right? Obviously, I'm very early on. Things may well change once I've sunk 20, 30 hours into it. Obviously, the TemTem roster is nowhere near that of a Pokemon roster. There's not a huge amount to catch, but there's still things to, it is a game they're expanding. It is a game they're working on. It has had some technical issues, but the team do seem to be pretty active on social media. They're obviously trying really hard. So the team behind it are clearly passionate. They're clearly working hard on it. So I'm definitely down to support that and sort of see how it goes. So I'm going to be sticking around. I'm going to play it for quite some time. Obviously, if you guys want to see more videos, maybe once I've sunk some more time into it and I've actually got like more experience with the game, maybe I can do some follow-up videos. But for the time being, based on jumping in today for the first time, those are my first impressions. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Of course, be sure to keep it locked. Drop a like on this video if you did enjoy it, and don't forget to turn those notifications so you don't miss our next upload. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and also click on the little bell icon to turn on notifications so you don't miss my next upload. Also, don't forget, you can check out 269 and Paradise Central streaming over on Twitch 6 days a week. You can find a link to the multi-stream in the description box down below. Be sure to drop by and get involved. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.